The movie begins in a nearly deserted town. A man gazes at the horizon. Soon after, two other men ride in. The trio cautiously approaches each other, their fingers twitching over their guns. They acknowledge each other with nods and stand in front of a door. Suddenly, they draw their weapons and enter the building. Chaos ensues, with gunfire erupting. A man crashes through a window, rushes to a horse, and rides away into the desert with a bottle in hand. This man is Tuco, known as the Ugly. Out of the three men who entered, only one emerges, but he is badly injured. He attempts to shoot at Tuco but collapses back inside the building. Meanwhile, a boy uses a donkey to pump water when a stranger on horseback approaches his home. The boy, alarmed, runs to inform his father. The stranger enters their compound calmly, standing at the door and peering inside. The boy returns with his father, who, upon seeing the stranger, sends his wife and son away. He sits down to eat. The stranger joins him at the table, and the father quickly interrogates him, asking if Baker sent him. He urges the stranger to tell Baker to stop harassing him, insisting he has already revealed everything he knows and has no information about the gold coins. He explained to him that he had even approached the army court but found no information. The stranger, hearing about the gold for the first time, informs him that Baker knows a man named Jackson, who is suspected of stealing the gold coins. However, the problem is that Jackson's current alias is unknown, making him difficult to track. The man then tells the stranger that Jackson is now using the name Bill Carson. He offers the stranger money, but when the stranger refuses the bribe, he pulls out a pistol. The stranger shoots him before he can fully draw his gun, takes the $2,000 that was offered, and kills a younger man who comes down the stairs with a rifle. The man's wife faints upon returning to the house and seeing the dead bodies. The stranger, Angel Eyes, is revealed to be the bad angel. Angel Eyes then returns to Baker, recounts everything the man had said, and informs him that the man had paid for Baker to be killed. Baker starts laughing, but Angel Eyes smothers him with a pillow and shoots him. Meanwhile, Tuco is captured by bounty hunters when suddenly a man with blonde hair appears and initiates a gun duel, which he wins swiftly. He then turns Tuco over to the town's authorities. As Tuco hurls insults at him, Tuco is taken to the gallows. Before being hanged, all of Tuco's crimes are listed, and the judge declares the death sentence. Just as Tuco is about to be hanged, Blondie shoots the rope, freeing Tuco. They ride out of town into the wilderness, where they split the $2,000 reward Blondie earned for turning Tuco in. Tuco demands a larger share, arguing he's the one getting hanged. Blondie warns that if his cut is reduced, his aim at the noose might suffer. Meanwhile, Angel Eyes starts searching for Jackson and learns from Shorty, who has lost his legs, that Confederate officers Baker, Stephen, and Jackson were the survivors of a convoy ambushed by Yankees, with 3,000 gold coins missing. Jackson, now living under a new name with Maria, had been acquitted. Blondie and Tuco are in town when Tuco is about to be hanged again. A woman loudly proclaims his guilt. Angel Eyes, observing, notes that men like Tuco usually have a guardian angel, a blonde angel, as he spots Blondie on his horse. After the judge lists Tuco's crimes and orders his hanging, Blondie shoots the rope, but it doesn't snap on the first shot. He fires a second shot, cutting the rope, and sees the two men escaping the town. Once they reach the safety of the wilderness, Tuco complains that the blonde didn't cut the rope with his first shot, asserting that no one should miss when he's at the end of a rope. Tuco airs his grievances aloud, while the blonde states that he doesn't think Tuco is worth more than $3,000. He advises Tuco to save his energy since the nearest town is 70 miles away. The blonde rides off, as Tuco hurls insults at him, vowing revenge. The blonde remarks that after all the times he saved Tuco's life, the behavior is ungrateful. Later, in the night, a carriage with singing drunk men passes through a town. A woman is thrown from the carriage and curses at the drunks. She hears someone call her name, believes it's Bill, and runs to her room, only to be caught by Angel Eyes. He demands to know Billy's whereabouts. When she refuses to answer, Angel Eyes slaps her. Under pressure, she reveals that Billy has gone to Santa Fe. Angel Eyes pushes her onto the bed and then leaves. Tuco survives the wilderness and rushes into a town, searching for water. He heads to a gun store, selects the best weapon, robs the store owner, and leaves, laughing. Tuco then makes his way to a bandit hideout, where he meets three familiar men. He convinces them to join his search for a blonde man, claiming the blonde has almost $4,000 in cash and promising to give each person $1,000. He tracks the blonde to a guest house where the blonde is busy cleaning his gun. As cannonballs rain down and the Confederates are losing the war, many Confederate soldiers are abandoning the town. Tuco makes the guest house owner reveal the blonde's room number. He and his three allies go upstairs. Sensing danger, the blonde starts reassembling his gun quickly. The three men barge into the room, but the blonde shoots them all before they can fire back. However, Tuco sneaks in through a window and holds the blonde at gunpoint. Tuco forces the blonde to tie a noose to the ceiling and put his head in it. Just as the blonde is about to put his head in the noose, a cannonball hits the guest house, causing the floor beneath Tuco to collapse, and Tuco falls to the ground floor, allowing the blonde to escape. Meanwhile, Angel Eyes searches for Bill Carson in a Confederate military camp. A Confederate soldier, tasked with showing him around the camp full of injured men, points out the lack of basic supplies. Angel Eyes bribes the soldier with a drink to find out where Bill Carson might be. The soldier suggests Carson might be heading to Glorieta if he's in the 3rd Regiment, but doubts they are still alive due to a pursuing colonel. Angel Eyes asks what would happen if they are captured, and the soldier responds they would be sent to a brutal Yankee prison, which is often worse than death for Confederate prisoners. Angel Eyes then leaves to pursue the blonde, tracking him through the campfires left behind and following his cigarette trail. He tracks his way to a town where a man named Shorty is about to be hanged. Somewhere nearby, Blonde is preparing his rifle to shoot the rope and save Shorty. This is part of an arrangement he has with Tuco. Tuco points a gun at Blonde's face. Blonde asks if he's allowed to free Shorty, but Tuco refuses. Apologizing, Blonde disarms himself as Tuco commands, and they head into a desert so harsh even Confederate soldiers avoid it. In the desert, when Tuco drinks water, Blonde tries to drink as well, but Tuco shoots the bottle out of his hand, laughing. Tuco drags the weakened Blonde through the desert, his face and body burning under the sun. Blonde becomes extremely weak from the heat, and Tuco revels in this as revenge for Blonde abandoning him earlier. Just as Tuco is about to shoot Blonde, he hears a carriage racing by, horses running wild without a driver. Tuco stops the horses and discovers dead bodies inside the carriage. As he searches for valuables, some of the supposedly dead rise, begging for water. One dying man explains they were ambushed and offers the location of $200,000 in exchange for water. Ignoring his pleas, Tuco demands the location and hears the graveyard's name before the man loses consciousness. As Tuco rushes to fetch water, he returns to find a very frail blonde near the dying man. Pushing Blonde away, he realizes the man has died. The blonde man reveals he knows the name of the grave where the gold is buried, which changes Tuco's attitude toward him. Tuco begs the unconscious blonde not to die and pours water on him. Tuco steals Bill Carson's uniform and hurries to a monastery with the weakened blonde, demanding treatment for him. After the blonde recovers, Tuco encounters his brother, the monastery head, in an awkward meeting. Reforming their partnership, Tuco and the blonde decide to work together since the blonde knows the grave's name, and Tuco knows the name of the graveyard. As they head towards the graveyard, they run into a cavalry of soldiers. Mistaking them for Confederates, Tuco cheers for the Confederate army, but the soldiers reveal themselves to be Union troops by shaking off the dust from their uniforms. Tuco and the blonde are captured and sent to a Union prison. In the prison, the blonde and Tuco recognize Angel Eyes. Tuco uses dead Bill Carson's name and gets roughed up for not responding promptly during roll call. Angel Eyes orders the guards to treat Tuco and the blonde well before attending a summons from the prison commander. The commander warns Angel Eyes that he knows about the maltreatment of prisoners and hopes to gather enough evidence for a court-martial. Unfazed, Angel Eyes invites Tuco to his quarters and interrogates him about the gold's location while musicians play loud music to mask their conversation. After successfully connecting Bill Carson to Tuco, who is Bill Carson's tobacco pouch, one of Angel Eyes' Yankee henchmen beats Tuco severely until he reveals information. Tuco discloses the graveyard's location but states that only Blondie knows the name on the grave. Angel Eyes and Blondie head for the graveyard, while Tuco is placed on a train guarded by the Yankee soldier. Tuco escapes by jumping off the train and using the Yankee to break his fall, then kills the soldier and sets off after Blondie and Angel Eyes. Angel Eyes brings more henchmen to prevent Blondie's escape. They all end up in a town under cannon fire. Blondie meets Tuco there, and together they engage in a gunfight with Angel Eyes' men, killing all of them, though Angel Eyes manages to get away. Tuco and Blondie continue their journey. They assist a captain in blowing up a bridge, during which they reveal their secrets. Tuco tells Blondie the graveyard's name, and Blondie, the name on the grave marker. After the bridge is destroyed, Blondie aids a dying soldier, while Tuco flees on a horse. Blondie uses cannon fire to knock Tuco off the horse, but Tuco still finds his way to the graveyard. He rushes through the graveyard searching for the grave, finally spotting one with the name the blonde had provided. Attempting to dig it up with a plank, Blonde arrives and hands him a shovel. Angel Eyes appears, gun in hand. Tuco opens the coffin only to find it empty. Blonde, unfazed, remarks that $200,000 is a significant amount, and they'd need to earn it. The three men engage in a shootout. Tuco and Blonde fire at Angel Eyes, with Blonde delivering the fatal shot. Tuco then realizes that Blonde had removed the bullets from his gun and angrily yells at him. Blonde reveals the actual grave containing the gold is unmarked. Tuco digs it up, rejoicing at the sight of gold, but Blonde orders him to place his head in a noose and leaves with his share of the gold. Tuco screams at him until he slips off the platform, beginning to choke. Blonde returns to shoot him down from the gallows. Tuco curses at Blonde as he rides away into the sunset. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon. Take care.